that's really the challenge. How do we make your passwords go away? By enrolling your device. So at the heart of this is a very simple principle. By the way, we're incredibly familiar with it. Your device operates chains. Nobody sits down with a pen and paper and forms a Bitcoin transaction. We get out our device, we push the buttons, we make keys, we back up keys. It's very complicated today because crypto's not built in. It's a little bit like using the analogy of multimedia in the early days where you had to plug in a Sound Blaster card and then you had to plug in a video card, and then if you had a really good day, Mist would run on your computer and you could play video games. The challenge now is that we want it built in. So I can mail grandma an MP3 file and it just plays. It plays every time. And so the goal is to have crypto built into every device. As part of that, we've developed technology and partnerships with one of the largest carriers in the world. So Rivets has a partnership with Telefonica, and 3 weeks ago we demonstrated the first dual root of trust technology where inside the phone we actually are supporting both the capability for the SIM chip to hold a portion of your keys and the trusted execution environment. So what that makes possible is that we can now bring policies to keys. So inside your device, kind of like almost running a smart contract inside your device, what we're able to accomplish is I can say, here's a key, you can only use it if you're an employee, or here's a key that only works if you're at home, or here's a key and mom has to push her phone button also to release your key because you're not allowed to spend money unless mom approves it. We can then carry that information all the way through to the blockchain. Here's the challenge, and you're going to see this on everybody else who presents. Ask this question: can I prove the data on the chain is real? And you can't, because while chain data is immutable, we know it doesn't change. We can't prove the data was intended. We have no evidence on chain as to whether your key was made up in the middle of the night and written down on a piece of paper, or your key is held within Fort Knox. And so what these technologies make possible is for us to bind additional cybersecurity information into the transaction, so that embedded in the transaction is the evidence that this device in this condition with these controls is able to actually produce a transaction. That's where our revenue comes from. We believe that organizations will pay for cybersecurity controls or policy attached to keys that prove that the evidence written on chain was real, and that they'll invest in the quality of data that's stored on chain. So if you attach rivets to any blockchain project, you improve the quality of the data recorded on the chain, and therefore increase the value of the chain. This is built on hardware, inside your phones, embedded in the silicon, on over 1.4 billion mobile handsets already, is the hardware security we can address over the air. I can provision rivets to a Samsung phone over the air. I don't have to touch your phone. We do that from the supply chain root of trust, all the way from the bottom of the hardware, from Samsung's manufacturing keys, all the way up to the surface. And so this is a set of technologies called trusted computing, and we believe trusted computing is absolutely critical to helping operate chains. So I come from that industry. We've spent 20 years in that industry helping build infrastructure for PCs and others. Rivets as a company was designed to provide this for mobile. As part of that, it's important to understand in our business model and our execution that we actually have a very strong cybersecurity mobile business as part of what we do for the blockchain industry, but it also functions for IoT and for cloud as well. So there's a very well-established market where, imagine a two-factor authenticator logging you into your GitHub account can have policy that says you can only log in if you're still an employee. Oh, companies will pay for that, and they'll pay per subscriber, per device on a daily basis. So in our business, it's really about how do we combine services. The more services, the more reasons there are to use this. We've signed over 30 partnerships today with partners within the blockchain space and not within the blockchain space. And then it's about distribution, because it's great that we can build a capability. How do you put it in front of everybody's eyeballs? And so our partnership with Telefonica is really important. We've built a dual trust capability into the handset that enables us to bind in their SIM architecture and all of the customer service that comes along with that. So if you leave your phone in the Uber, you can call your carrier and say, "Oh my God, I lost my phone, turn it off." Then if the Uber returns your phone later on in the day, You can call and say, oh, I got my phone back, can you turn my keys back on? And because it's bound into the SIM architecture, not that the carrier owns your key, the carrier is helping you manage your key, because only a portion of the keying material is in the supply chain of the SIM architecture. The rest of the keys are in the supply chain of the device manufacturer like an HTC or Samsung. So what you have is two guys in the missile silo with two keys. You're trusting both infrastructures together. Neither one by itself can lose your keys. And so that combined mechanism provides us with a path to market. So we're committed, between the two of us, to bring you, for the first time, hardware wallets as standard capability in a telco offering. And so our mission is 350 million new subscribers with crypto embedded in their handsets, and we'll begin that distribution in 2019. We believe that we'll bring other carriers in. We've actually are very close to signing our second carrier as well, and we think we'll continue to expand this because carriers have helped us to operate the internet. They gave us dial-up, then they gave us DSL, then they gave us fiber. Fiber's great. Then some idiot decided to put a browser in her phone. Remember those first phones with browsers in them where you like had to type the letters in one time? And they were terrible. Can you live without a browser on your phone today? God, no. So they've done a great job of delivering us technology and showing us how to operate. We believe carriers can help us to operate blockchain. And so this is how we bring the next billion people to blockchain. Now the challenge is, what happens if I lose my device? If I lose my device, that's an interesting problem, but we believe your collection of devices is your identity. So if at 3 o'clock in the morning, at the middle of the block shift party, you make a new wallet, why don't you have your robot in your device talk to all of your other devices over a secured comms channel between their trust environments to back up and recover your keys? And finally, we have a token model, and the token model is built on providing the device an allowance, because you're going to want to pay for these individual cyber controls, and those cyber controls, those policies, are how we charge for our individual services. So we give the device a store of value, and we let that device spend that value. So if you need a billion devices, each device is going to need an allowance. That store of value is ultimately represented by our token in the marketplace. And with that, thank you very much.
Perfect. Okay, next up.